Browns fans, listen up. Is our quarterback room about to get a major shakeup, or is this just another distraction? A controversial collegiate signal caller is officially entering the supplemental draft, and the front office isn't shutting the door on the possibility of bringing him to Cleveland. While our coaching staff seems skeptical, the general manager is keeping his options wide open. Could this be the gamble we need to finally stabilize our future, or is it a risk too dangerous to take? You don't want to miss this update. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. Should we take the risk? The Cleveland Browns find themselves in a complex situation regarding the quarterback position as training camp approaches, with Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders currently set to compete for the starting role. Amidst this ongoing battle, a new potential candidate has emerged in Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby, who is officially applying to enter the NFL supplemental draft. Sorsby, who is choosing to forego his final season of college football after a mutual parting with Texas Tech, has been the subject of significant discussion due to a legal spat regarding his NCAA eligibility. His status has remained in limbo ever since he admitted to betting on games that included his own team. Despite the controversy surrounding these actions, Sorsby has completed a gambling addiction treatment program and appears determined to move past his legal disputes to pursue a professional career in the NFL. For the Dawg Pound, this news brings an unexpected layer to the current roster deliberations. The primary point of interest is how the organization chooses to navigate this specific availability. While the team currently relies on Watson and Sanders, the arrival of Sorsby in the supplemental draft creates a unique point of evaluation for the front office. The prospect of adding a player who might have been a first-round talent in the 2027 draft class, if he had completed his college eligibility, presents a curious case of risk versus reward. As the organization evaluates the landscape, the technical requirements for acquiring Sorsby through the supplemental draft, which is scheduled for July, become the focus. The process would require the Browns to place a bid, and should that bid be the highest, they would be awarded the rights to the quarterback, with the cost being a draft pick in a future cycle. The potential pursuit of Brendan Sorsby has sparked differing viewpoints within the organization, specifically between the coaching staff and the front office. Browns head coach Todd Monken has been notably cautious, publicly pouring cold water on the idea of Sorsby as a realistic option for the team. Monken stated 2 weeks ago that he does not believe the team is in a position to go down that road, noting that he prefers the quarterbacks currently on the roster. He described the situation as a slippery slope, emphasizing that regardless of pure talent, the circumstances surrounding Sorsby's eligibility and past actions create a difficult path forward. Monken added that while this is his perspective, it remains a question for Andrew Berry and management. He questioned whether such a move would be appropriate given the nature of the gamble Sorsby took on his own games, noting that in other professional sports, players have faced lifetime bans for similar infractions. For Monken, the concern rests on the long-term viability of having a player with this background serve as a franchise quarterback, assuming he even secures eligibility to play in the league. This stark contrast in tone highlights a significant internal divide regarding the team's direction. While the coach focuses on the immediate stability and the perceived risks of integrating a player with a history of gambling on his own team, the front office is tasked with a broader assessment. The tension between wanting to secure high-ceiling talent and the potential optics of such a signing remains a central theme. The organization must now reconcile these conflicting views as they weigh the potential for a high-reward investment against the established values and public perception of the franchise as they prepare for the upcoming season. General Manager Andrew Berry has adopted a far more neutral stance compared to the coaching staff, emphasizing a methodical and consistent approach to evaluating all available prospects. When asked about the possibility of targeting Brendan Sorsby during an interview on 92.3 The Fan, Berry explained that the team treats this situation no differently than any other year. He noted that the organization will conduct the necessary work on all prospects before making a final decision that aligns with the best interests of the team. Berry's philosophy centers on a two-part inquiry when looking at players with past mistakes. First, determining whether the individual is fundamentally a bad person or if they simply made a bad decision. And second, evaluating the specific steps taken after the fact to correct the behavior. He remarked that within society, there is a place for offering grace, suggesting that the team's evaluation process under his leadership is designed to look beyond surface-level controversies. This approach aligns with the team's history under Barry, where they have occasionally pursued talented players who carried baggage from their previous experiences. By framing the evaluation of Sorsby through this lens, Barry is signaling that the door is not necessarily closed. He is prioritizing a structured, fact-based investigation over immediate dismissal, which is standard procedure for his front office. This highlights the divergence in priorities, where the front office sees a potential bargain that could be corrected, while the coaching staff remains focused on the inherent risks. The decision now rests on whether the data collected during their scouting process will convince the leadership that Sorsby is a calculated risk worth taking for the organization's future. Why does this matter right now for the team? The Browns are currently navigating a quarterback situation that remains heavily influenced by the shadow cast since the pursuit of Deshaun Watson in 2022. Since that trade, Watson has been limited by an 11-game suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy and has managed to complete only 19 games due to various injuries. This lack of reliability has been a recurring theme, and with both Watson and Shedeur Sanders showing inconsistencies throughout the offseason, there is little internal evidence to suggest that either is a definitive long-term solution for the franchise. The team understands that availability is the most important ability, especially at the quarterback position, yet they find themselves once again contemplating a high-risk move to address a lingering void. The potential acquisition of Brendan Sorsby matters because it represents a strategic pivot for a front office that loves a bargain. By sacrificing a second-round pick in the 2013 NFL draft model, or the equivalent in the current cycle, they could secure a player who was projected as a potential top-tier talent for the 2027 draft class. Furthermore, the Browns hold 2 first-round picks in 2027 thanks to the Myles Garrett trade. If Barry concludes that the team will be too talented to secure top-tier prospects like Arch Manning or Dante Moore, taking a swing on Sorsby in the supplemental draft could provide the high-end talent they lack. This decision represents a critical moment in the team's trajectory, as they must decide if they are comfortable doubling down on a complex risk in hopes of stabilizing the most important position on the field before the season begins. The path toward acquiring Brendan Sorsby through the NFL supplemental draft would be a calculated move with clear historical precedent. If the Browns decide to proceed, they would participate in the draft process scheduled for July. The procedure involves teams submitting bids for the player, and the team with the highest bid is awarded the rights, while simultaneously forfeiting the corresponding pick in the following year's standard NFL draft. This strategy is not new to the franchise. In the 2012 supplemental draft, the team utilized a second-round pick to secure wide receiver Josh Gordon, which ultimately cost them their second-round selection in the 2013 NFL draft. The organization is well-versed in the mechanics of this process, though the stakes for a quarterback are significantly higher than for a wide receiver. The potential cost of a second-round pick is steep, but it must be weighed against the caliber of talent Sorsby demonstrated at Texas Tech. His profile suggests he could have been a first-round selection in the 2027 class had he remained in college, making the supplemental draft a potential opportunity to acquire premium talent at a relative discount. Andrew Barry must now synthesize the scouting reports, the player's personal progress following his gambling treatment, and the internal pushback from the coaching staff. As the July deadline approaches, the front office faces the pressure of balancing the need for long-term depth with the necessity of maintaining team stability. Whether the team chooses to place a bid or sticks with the current competition between Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders remains to be seen. Regardless of the final choice, the mere act of considering Sorsby demonstrates that the organization is actively looking beyond their current roster to address the persistent instability that has plagued their quarterback position for years.